Okay. I think I've escaped from the internet ghost. They say if you cover yourself in red, you'll be protected. I think I'll be fine. Okay, so let's then talk about Pulse 2. Alright? So Pulse 2 is a sequel and name to the original only. It stars the guy from Battlestar Galactica, plays Apollo in the new Battlestar Galactica of 2004. And it's about him trying to find his and then save his daughter from internet ghosts. And basically he's what he's running most of the time. So this movie is weird. So right away we start off with this guy completely covered head to toe in red. Even with red glasses, he's walking around looking at internet ghosts. And then he stops. And it cuts to black and we start the movie. Pulse 2, Afterlife. And we have one of the main characters, I guess. Her name is Michelle. She's British, though everyone else in her family is not. So that's weird. Even Aunt Carmen, who I'm assuming is supposed to be her aunt, but it could be his aunt, whatever. But she wakes up. We'll say wakes up in a room where there's ash just everywhere, okay? She wakes up in a room where there's ash just everywhere, and she can't find her daughter, Justine. So, she decides to look around for it. She ends up going to Aunt Carmen's house. Well, Aunt Carmen is acting weird, and it's here that you start to realize that something is off with this movie. That's because they made this movie cheap as hell, and they have barely any sets. There's some outside stuff I think is outside, I don't know. But most of it is screened. And you can tell on this porch that it's screened. So she talks to Aunt Carmen, and she's like, well, where's Uncle Pete? Uncle Pete's inside. And then when she goes to open the door, she's like, that's not my husband. I'm like, okay. And then she sees a little person in a hood swinging on a swingy set. And she's like, it's Mommy. She thinks it's her daughter. I'm like, you don't know it's your daughter, but it is. And then she runs away. And then we cut to husband, the father, Michelle's ex-husband, because apparently he was cheating on her with a colleague named Marta, who he's still with. And he's in some cabin in the woods. Don't get excited. Nothing like that happens. But he's in some cabin in the woods where he still has a laptop for some reason. And he wants to go find his daughter. So he goes get his daughter, and he leaves to go get his daughter. And he shows him in the city. She finally sees her daughter outside the building, but her husband shows up, looks around the apartment, sees it's all a mess. Can't find Michelle anywhere, but Michelle sees him take the daughter, and she wanders out into the road, and we get a twist. She's an internet ghost. That makes no sense. Do not watch the last movie. Once you're an internet ghost, you're depressed, you talk weird. No, she's not. She wouldn't. It makes no sense. She's an internet ghost. But anyways. So now the rest of the movie is he takes her, the daughter, Justine, back to his cabin in the woods. He's stopped by a few people who live up there, out of self-service. Even though they have a laptop, still connects to the wireless, even though it's supposed to be out of service, but no plot otherwise. And so they have to make sure there's no black goo on them. And there's a little bit of dirt from the ashes earlier, which technically means it should be on her, because we know that once it becomes goop and you touch it, like in the first one, and later on in this film, it goes after you. Well, we find out later that at some point, we find out what happened was she got infected, tried to kill her daughter, and burst into ashes. Ashes went all over the daughter, yet she wasn't affected because she's the main protagonist of the next film, which was released in the same year. So you bet they had plans for this. So, get back to the woods. Martha shows up, and the daughter is upstairs sleeping, and Martha wants to get it on, but they put on the computer, it turns on, and he gets a whole bunch of messages from Michelle saying he met my daughter, and Martha throws it across the room and smashes it. Yet later, it still works. That's not how computers work. It's smashed up, you can barely see the screen, and yet he picks it up, sets it up on the desk, moves the thing so it's completely fixed, and the screen has no cracks in it anymore. Magic. It shouldn't work, but it does. And because he answers an email, she of course finds him and goes after the daughter. Well, he wakes up Marta and says, "We gotta get out of here," but Marta, stupid bitch, doesn't move. And she gets faced by by Michelle, the ghost of Michelle. That comes back, and they run off. As Michelle chases them, of course. And they get in a car and they drive off. Meanwhile, one of the guys that stopped him and the daughter shows up at the house, and he walks in and sees Ghost Martha, Internet Ghost Martha, naked. I'm not beyond a good tit shot, don't get me wrong, but why is she naked? She wasn't naked when she died. Why is she naked now? And this whole scene just had me scratching my head. Here's what happens. Word for I give you my word. He walks in, he sees she's naked, she hits on him, and all of a sudden he unzips his pants, she lays on the floor, he starts going at it, she turns into goop, he freaks out, runs out the door, and he's faced. Yep. Meanwhile, while trying to escape, they come across Man in Red, which is his legal name. He reminds me, he looks kind of like Kyle from Last Man Standing, but it's not the same guy, but he kind of looks like it. And he's in there, and he says he needs a processor that might end this. So he makes the dad, Steven, go in and get it. And it's a warehouse. We're running around a warehouse, and I'm like, he's just running around, and it's like 5 minutes. I'm just like, can we get to where he finds this thing? Why is he gotta keep running around in circles here? Finally finds it, there's an internet ghost creeping on him, and he finds it, thing falls over him, and gotta do the, oh no, the internet ghost is gonna get him, but he runs off. And I think would it be a decent twist if the dad was infected here, but he wasn't. Because as we've seen, you don't know you're infected, but So he resolves to save his daughter. Man in Red gives them a roll of red duct tape and say that red is the only frequency that the internet ghosts can't pass through, which is their explanation for the first film why there was red duct tape. Is red a frequency? It's a color. I don't know. But I don't know. But here's the thing. He leaves. And apparently we're going to pick up with him in the third film. Yay, I can't wait. Although the daughter is supposed to be older there, so I don't know how they're going to do that, but I don't know. But anyway, so now it's just him and the daughter, and they're trying to survive, but the mom shows up or the mom ghost shows up to take her. Then he sees a bus. He gets her back to the van. Then there's a bus, and he honks the horn so the bus, it's to a refuge. And he saves the daughter, but leaves himself behind. And he says, take me, leave her alone. And she gets in, and he's like, take me. And then he says one of the stupidest things in the film: I love you, Michelle. I've always loved you. I never stopped. And I'm like, why did you cheat on her? We found out earlier that it's in excruciating detail how it happened. Apparently, it was on her boss's porch. While Michelle was in the other room or in the house talking to the boss, they were doing it on the back porch. Okay, sure. Anyway, Michelle just kisses him, doesn't face him, but kisses him and then disappears. And he thinks he's safe, but because they're holding the shot on him, so I'm like, okay, so is the third film going to be about him reuniting with his daughter then? No, because they keep holding on the shot of him standing there and music swelling, and then Martha shows up again, still naked for some reason, and he gets faced. Again, I must ask, why is she naked? I'm not against seeing some titty, but why? In the context of the story, she was never once naked. I get it. She was the whore that ruined their relationship. But she was never once actually naked when she was alive at any point. She didn't die naked. They were about to do it, but didn't. So I don't understand why she has to be naked after she died. It's one thing in, say, Mirrors 2. When Nick Stahl sees the vision of Kristen Carlson Romano and she's butt naked, it's because when she dies, she's in the shower. So it makes sense. This doesn't make any sense. But he gets faced, movie ends. And we end with her going to the refugee camp with a bunch of others in red tinted, in a bus with red tinted windows. How are they driving that thing? You can't see out the windows. Can't see through duct tape. Red or not, you can't see through duct tape. How are they driving? I can see if they attach the camera out top and look at the screen, but then the ghost would face you. So I don't understand how they're driving with the duct tape on. But this, I'll give it a 5. It's worse than the last one, so I can't give it a middle of the road. So it's a 5. It's on the lower scale of things. I think I'm gonna try to adjust my rating system, because middle of the road would be a 5. I guess it's another middle of the road film. I just don't. I don't get it. And these films are nothing special to me. It doesn't. I gotta go. They found me. I gotta go. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. I'm gonna end this in a Pulse 3 review. I promise. I gotta go.